and welcome to Beacon Hills, where we are discussing the finale of Season 4 called Smoke and Mirrors of Teen Wolf. And so, basically, this is the last new episode we're going to get until... Oh, that's right! We don't know exactly!
No, it's 9 months. It's the first Monday in June.
So we've got a long hiatus, but that hiatus should be enough time for everybody in the Teen Wolf cast and crew to get recharged and come back at us with the best they've got.
Crickets.
I have faith in this show.
Mm-hmm. No, seriously though, I'm a bitter Betty this week. I think it's just been frustrating me that has come out about the Season 4 wrap-up of Teen Wolf. I'm just frustrated.
This was the best episode in a long time from the very worst season of them all.
That's a backhanded compliment if I ever heard one.
This was Teen Wolf's worst season of them all. I think that you'll find the majority of fans will say the same thing, provided that those fans are also the ones that liked 3B. However, that being said, this is one of the few episodes this season that really did feel like Teen Wolf to me, where there was better pacing and more a focus on the action and the myth arc instead of a focus on Whiny McWhinerton and lacrosse and romance.
Like I said, basically Teen Wolf could have been 2 episodes, the premiere and this episode.
I do hope that we go into a more intense, a more myth arc focused, definitely a more action focused Teen Wolf in Season 5. It seems like a whole lot more people tuned in for this finale than have been tuning in for most of the season. Basically, we ended up with a 0.8 in demo. That is the highest demo we've had since we got a 0.8 with Episode 4, The Benefactor. And it is second highest to the premiere, which got a 0.9. And we also had 1.54 million people watching, so that was a whole lot more than we had before, too. So all in all, as far as the whole ratings go, this was an excellent rating for Teen Wolf this season.
This episode was written by Jeff Davis solo. No offense, Ian Stokes, Mr. Supervising Producer. I'm just noticing a trend, that's all.
And it was better, so yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But then again, also his longtime collaborator Russell McCauley was directing. I really feel like they vibe off of each other. They have really good synergy, and it's just classic Teen Wolf. You know what I mean?
I agree. It feels like when, and it's not always true, but it feels like when Jeff is in complete control of the vision, it's much better.
But I always like this team up. It just, for some reason, like, it gives me a better air of confidence going into an episode, especially if it's a season finale that I didn't have a lot of hope for. So it was like my little pick-me-up extra about it. So I was just like, okay, at least I know for sure that Jeff is by himself and Russell's going to bring his touch to it. And that just gives me a little peace of mind. So the synopsis is basically the pack head back to Mexico to save Scott from Kate, and unbeknownst to them, Peter.
Well, let's get to the things that we like.
I guess I'll keep this kind of general. There were people in the finale that I didn't expect to see, and it was a pleasant surprise in general until they pretty much opened their mouth. And yes, I'm talking about Coach. I was glad to see him, and then when he said what he said, which is in my issues, I was just like, oh, okay. But I was happy to see Ornery Adams, obviously.
I also was happy to see him. I also have an issue with that scene. It's going to be the same issues you have. He is funny, and he is the person who had the least amount of time on screen last time. So it was good to see him have a little bit of time in here. I am going to go with... I knew Mama Fratelli was going to show up because the thing was set in Mexico. I didn't know that I was going to like her for the first time ever. I mean, seriously, it is the first time I've ever liked Mama Fratelli in any scene ever. And so I really like her coming to the rescue. I love the idea that Argent made a deal with them to leave Scott in the pack alone in order for him to join them, basically, in the hunt for Kate. I think that's a fabulous way of explaining why he's not going to be there next season, and still gives us plenty of opportunity to have him come right back in if, say, his new TV show doesn't get renewed.
I actually liked Arya too. She actually acted like a hunter for the first time we've ever really seen her.
For the first time, she wasn't torturing somebody we like.
I loved the scene with Styles and Sheriff where he's like, I'll forbid you to go. And Styles was like, I'll find a way. He goes, I'll lock you up in a cell. I'll still find a way. Because it's true, it's Styles. And it was like kind of this light humor, but at the same time, kind of melancholy kind of thing, because Styles is desperate. It is a serious situation. But Sheriff is actually being a good parent and like begging Styles not to go. He's like, I have all these options. It was just kind of like this weird dichotomous scene, but it just really worked because, well, Dylan and Lyndon just knock it out of the park when they're together most of the time. So
I'm going to say that I really liked the acting in that scene, but that scene gives me a lot of issues, so it's actually going to be in my issues section instead.
No, I totally get why it would be in the issues, but like we haven't had a lot of actual time with the Stalinskys, and so glad they actually did manage to remember to put it in there, since we got an extended episode and all. We could have cut a lot of stuff out, is all I'm saying. Didn't need to be as long as it was.
All right, I am going to put on my favorite, something that I would bet is on your issues. Number 9 for me, Mama Fox kind of ghost visits Kira and gives her strength. Yeah. I like this scene. I like the scene probably for the same reason you hate it, and that is because, yes, it did remind me of Mama Argent coming in and telling Allison to thread the needle. I thought that was a great way of tying back in there, but most importantly for me, I'm not quite sure how it happened, because Mama Fox is obviously not dead.
I know, it brings up so many questions.
So I don't understand why it happened, but I also think that this is one of the most positive portrayals of Mama Fox in the entire show as well. Of all of Teen Parent, she tends to be the least sympathetic.
And it's that tiger mom stereotype that they're going for, though.
Yeah. And in this scene, she is incredibly supportive. She's a whole lot more supportive than Mama Argent was. And in the end, both mamas have the same results. Their kid gets it together, which is always important. But I really like how it's very similar to Mama Fratelli for me, because I saw her in a different light in this episode, and I really liked this direction.
Let's just say that I don't think Nashiko is going to lighten up, because it's a reason it was a figment of Kira's imagination.
Oh, I agree.
So that's another thing about it.
I don't think Mama Fratelli is going to be awesome again. Because I don't think she's leaving us.
Oh, yeah, it's a small blinking you miss it moment, but, well, not really. When Kate's like, oh, yeah, I got to do a better job of covering up the tattoo. I go, finally, after a whole episode dedicated to that damn tattoo, it actually becomes relevant. Thank you.
It was nice that we had a reason for having it at this point, besides
the fact that that's Tyler Posey's actual tattoo.
I understand the need to add it into the story. I don't care to ever talk about it again.
Me neither, but finally, just finally. And also, if you really think about it, it's another Allison kind of touch mark, because that's kind of why he got it.
Right. And which is another reason why I tore it apart.
Yeah, I agree, but in the season where they've been doing a lot of Allison hallmarks and and callbacks and stuff,
which is good, and they need to do that. I like it because it was a way to say that it was Scott that actually made sense, instead of because this season has been all about great big assumption leaps.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if they would have just assumed it was Scott without having any grounding in fact, it would have bugged me to no end. Number 8 for me also goes along with the continuity of Teen Wolf, and it's a moment, Styles' reaction when Liam does not get the Star Wars reference. And then he's like, seriously? You haven't seen it either?
Well, since we're already at the Scott's house. Let's talk about the Malia and Styles incident where they're looking for something to smell him. He picks up Scott's boxers and she's just like desperately looking around for something else and she sees the pillow. She's like, woo, that was a close call.
Hate that scene. That's another one of those teen scenes that I don't need. I don't laugh at fart jokes and I didn't find that funny and I know I'm supposed to, but I
laugh at fart jokes all the time.
Okay.
I love base humor.
All right, I'm going to switch to something that did make me laugh. Mason and Lydia charged the Berserker with baseball bats, complete with Mason doing his Braveheart cry.
I can see where people like that part, but enough with the bats, damn it. Enough with the bats. It doesn't work. It never works. Oh, I absolutely love everything about the moment when the cavalry arrives. From the music to everybody jumping out, and it just like, whew, finally like the action just kicks into high gear, and it kind of doesn't let up for a while. And I liked how they crafted that scene.
Oh, I agree. 100%. I thought that the momentum of it was good. I loved the timing of it. I don't know. I thought that it was very well done. Number 6 for me is the quote. Malia, he is my father. Maybe we can do some bonding. Styles, no bonding. Play the radio. Play it loud. And then Malia does.
Since we're in that scene already, and we're talking kind of about Styles and his quippiness, let's talk about how when he realizes Derek has, Derek sees that he has Liam and Styles sees that he has Peter. He's like, you're bringing him?
That's one of my favorite quotes, too.
Bonus points for Roscoe actually being seen.
That is true. She's been missing for far too long. Number 5 for me. Sheriff saves the day.
Yep.
I love when Sheriff is the hero.
I love he blew some stuff up.
Oh, yeah. You know, there just aren't enough good explosions on TV anymore now that Burn Notice is over. I just really love the timing of it. The whole thing about it was just fantastic.
Yeah. And he said, like, bonus points that it was Lydia that he was saving. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just add that to the other score of awesome moments that they've had together this season. Keep it coming.
I agree. 100%.
I absolutely love the scene where Braden reminds Derek that being human doesn't mean being helpless.
Mm-hmm. Besides Dude is Beacon Hills, the I'm human, do I look helpless? Or more importantly, I'm human and I can kick your butt seems to be a trend all over the place.
Yeah, because we subscribe to the theory that humans being human is its own superpower in Beacon Hills.
Mm-hmm. Just look at it. The humans, besides the ones that are obviously red shirt filler, they tend to be the ones that get things done, figure things out, come up with a plan that actually works. If you're human and you are a main character, you have a better chance of surviving the season than if you're not.
Let's just be real. The thing that makes humans so awesome is that team parent. Like, just be real.
Absolutely. And, you think about it, all of them are strictly human, and they save the day an awful lot. Once they get in the know, knowing humans, I think, is actually a superpower. All right, number 4 for me. Peter's reaction to Styles taking a call mid-hostage rescue. Really? That was like, he's taking the call, and I'm thinking, way to let the Berserkers know where you're at, dummy. Come on. Let's put the thing on vibrate and just go with that. And then
silent, preferably.
Silent, yes. And then he goes, and he's not going to give up at this call. He walks away from the group while he's taking this call, and Peter's just like throwing his hands up. What the heck? He's looking back at these other people going, what is wrong with this kid?
I actually called that the awkward moment when Teen Wolf turns into Supernatural and Styles channels his inner Sam Winchester by getting technology everywhere.
I gotta say that I love that they addressed it.
Me too. But then that's still a sin. Like, that's still a TV sin. Just because you address it doesn't mean I'm not going to give you crap about it.
I'm actually okay with it because they did address it. If they hadn't addressed it, it'd be one of those logic things that I'd be like, what the heck? But because they addressed it, I'm actually more than fine with it. And I'm like, okay, very cool.
Styles is a Winchester. That's my theory. I told you, it's all in the same universe. Maybe parallel timelines or something like that, but it's all in the same universe because Turduncan. My biggest surprise of the night is that when they show up to Mexico, the Berserker wastes no time and rips Derek right out of the van.
Oh my goodness.
Shock of the night.
Number 3, I just loved everything Sheriff in this episode. Well, except for the scene that you liked. But number 3 for me is actually Sheriff reading Styles the Riot Act. I love how he was like, furious, I'm going to hobble you, just absolutely angry, and takes a breath and turns it around to tell me that you're okay. Because that is total parent. That's about as realistic as it gets. Your kid's off doing something that you know they shouldn't be doing. You just know it. And your first thing is, where the heck are you? Get your butt home right now. And then your next step is, are you okay? Do you need me to do something? And I just felt like that was absolutely true to the moment. It was fantastic. I love everything about Sheriff in this scene and very little about Styles in this scene.
I guess I'm sorry if I'm stealing your thunder, but I just want to talk about the evolution of Derek. It is all my issues, but the particular part that I'm so happy for Derek that I don't know. I feel like this is brings him closer to like his mother, even though she's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just really happy for Derek with this new found like power, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
Wolf Derek is my number 1 by far. Absolutely my number 1 because it was the only pleasant surprise we got in the whole. I'm gonna go with season. No, no, but definitely in this episode, it's not the only one, but it is by far the best pleasant surprise for me.
My timeline, well, first of all, I kind of knew it. Like, everybody kept saying it was Desert Wolf. I'm like, but it's black. It almost looks like Talia's. It almost has to be Derek. And then, like, I'm like, oh, yeah. I was like, I didn't get why everybody kept automatically assuming Desert Wolf. I was like, no way we're doing Desert Wolf right now. No way.
I assumed it was Desert Wolf because they had dropped so very many freaking anvils about it that I expected that Desert Wolf was going to be the Kate of this season, coming in at the end, showing up, and then jump-starting into season 5. Number 2 for me was actually 2 parts of the same scene. The first part is the 3-way hug with Styles, Sheriff, and Malia. I love that Styles and Sheriff are hugging. I didn't need the bodily smell kind of comment, but I love that they're hugging because I always do. It's like a brother hug for me. And then they stop hugging and they kind of both move away from each other. They're still attached physically, and they welcome Malia into their little family. And I was like, aww, that's my big aw moment of the night. And then instead of panning in on them, they pan in on her face. And to see just the, first off, surprise, and then that feeling like, oh, hey, I really do belong here. I think it was very well acted by Shelley. And I think that it was a very good, touching moment that didn't get the credit it deserved throughout the fandom. It was largely forgotten because right after that comes the big part. I adore that Sheriff handcuffs Styles to the desk and then takes Malia out for pizza. It was funny. It was smooth.
So that actually was my number 1. I said they weren't going to give me a Styles and Scott scene for just out of sheer sake of catharsis, then that's almost as nice.
I would agree.
My number 2, let me think. Derek begins his revenge, but doesn't finish it on Kate. I was hoping Chris was going to do it in the first watch, but not so much. I love how they captured too. Like, literally, you hear the howl, Brayden looks around, and literally, it's almost like everything stops for a moment just to soak that in. And just to have a showcase on just something that has to do with Tyler Hoechlin's character, it's nice. It's really nice.
Oh, I agree. 100% I agree. I thought that was a great way of advancing Derek's storyline, even if we don't understand how it happened yet. So I'm hoping that season 5 will clear that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So Number one for me, since it's actually Wolf Derek, I figured that one of my top 3 would be one that you choose also. So I purposely left out one of my favorite things about this episode, and that is the ending. Peter is in Eichen House with Triclops.
Nope, hated it.
I love it. Peter is he's going to break out, so he's still in the running to be the big bad of the last season. I love that these two are partnering together. I hope that they become this incredible evil mastermind and start their own criminal network. I want them to be the Suicide Squad.
I actually hated that for so many reasons. My number one on my favorite things is also like kind of number one on my issues. And it's Scott. Like, okay, woohoo, he didn't have to kill somebody again, and he's finally learning what it means to be an alpha, but Liam's still his beta. And we'll get to that in the issues more, but I was just like, I didn't know. I was like, well, it kind of defeats the purpose of all those stupid anvils, but I just don't think Jeff was ready to commit to that, so it's fine.
I have a real problem with all kinds of anvils falling and then not following through. In all honesty, it's an awful lot like the whole season. Anticlimactic. Because it felt like we were ready to go somewhere, and then we weren't. And the Deadpool benefactor thought like we were going somewhere, but we really weren't. And Scott as a berserker felt like we were going somewhere, but we really weren't.
It didn't feel like it was going anywhere on that front for me, but for me personally, I want to get into werewolf, like, how stuff actually works, like, for werewolves. And I feel like Scott having a beta finally might explain how they get power from their betas, more about packs. Like, I'm all about that kind of stuff in the mythology, and I feel like we might actually get some answers on that front, along with, you know, what it means for Derek to be able to take form of a wolf like his mom did and all that other stuff. So
yeah, I feel like it was just a cop-out.
Jeff's not ready to commit to Scott, so don't make something that he can't back up, is basically what I'm saying. Like, from all the stuff that I've read this week, that's basically what he's been saying. He's not ready to really focus on Scott, and I think that would have been a big thing, and it would have been like the not addressing Styles Nigatuni killing people. Like,
yeah, that's big.
So for me, I'd rather just not have to, like, have just another big gaping plot hole coming into season 5 and knowing that it won't get addressed, I guess, is how I can put that.
Before we go into issues, I'm going to talk about some of the other things that I really liked in this episode. 1, Scott stabs Kira as a berserker. It's not even that he stabs Kira. I just like that they followed through on it. You know, she wasn't going to die, but I like that they made a point of making it that Scott really was not Scott. They had the best hashtags of this season in this episode.
Oh my god, I hated them all. Teen Wolf School.
I love them. You get the bat styles. Woohoo. No werewolf Jedis. Love it. I love those two especially. I thought they were fabulous and funny. This one was going to be my number one, then I backed off. Everybody wants to ditch Liam and take Lydia. Everybody. Except for Peter, who's evil. I think they should have gone with their first plan. Peter, so if everyone is sufficiently freaked out, I say we get going. Styles, we can't. Not without Lydia. I love that he said it. I love that he was thinking about her, because too much of the time, Lydia has been an afterthought in this entire season of Lydia. I like the part about Derek and Styles having one of those silent conversations when they're lying about the Triskelion. I really loved Peter's reaction to Derek getting stabbed. I'm not sure I quite understand it, but I loved it because it shows that Peter, it's all about power for Peter, it is. I mean, he's a psychopath. But it shows that he actually did care about someone. He was not planning on Derek getting hurt in this. And I like that we saw a side of Peter that makes him more gray. And so while he has crazy person logic, you can see where this is coming from. And so I really do like that. Now, on the opposite side, I adore that Malia attacks Peter when he goes after Scott. It is an absolute clear defining of where her loyalties lie. For once, I really, really loved part of the music in this episode. I thought that the scene that plays when they're all getting ready to part ways in Mexico, and then it carries on into the epilogue, was a very good song to sing. If you look at the words and what's going on, it was very apropos. So I really like that. And then I also liked Coach's reaction to Liam explaining that Scott and Kira got stranded on a date in Mexico, and he's giving Liam this, oh yeah, right face, and he's like, I believe you. Liam, really? Absolutely not. I'm like, seriously, buddy, do you not get sarcasm? So I thought that part of the scene was absolutely fabulous. And those are some of the other things that I liked about this episode. There are many other ones too. But as in all episodes, there are some issues in this episode.
So many, honestly. But it mostly has to do with everything else in the season.
There are a lot of things that built up from my ire in this season. I have 10, 3 of which are Liam. All right. Number 10. Stiles tells his dad that he can ground him. Really? You're giving him permission to ground you? That irks me to no end. Partly because I'm an educator and I'm around bratty kids all the time. And I really just want their parents to stand up and spank them. And at this point, Stiles needs to be spanked. And I don't mean that in some kinky shipper fanfic way.
Well, Stiles has always been kind of a brat in this series. Whether people gloss over it or not, that's just kind of the defining trait of Stiles a lot of the time with his dad. So
I agree. And it's annoying. And he is too old to be doing this. So knock it off, grow up.
This is probably just, I don't know, things that bother me the most are not really in any particular order, and this actually should probably be like closer to the top of it, but I'm just going to get it out of the way. No Mama McCall. Nobody told her Scott was in danger. No hug at the end with Mama McCall. I mean, really? Did we even see Scott after like the pack left? Like, what? Excuse you?
I 100% agree.
I honestly don't know what he was thinking.
I think that there are some real issues in the way that some characters have been treated, and she is one of them. Number 9 for me, nitpicking logic. This is the logic stuff that bothers me, but I didn't completely fall into a hole in it. Kira wakes up on a bed of bones, goes to the gate, screams for Scott, and then somewhere in transition decided to go sleep on the bones again? Really? Of the 2 people they put in the back with Liam, both of them are the humans. Really? No one looks out the window to see the very huge, bony berserker standing right there. None of the cavalry appears to be using anti-were-creature bullets. That makes no sense to me. How in the heck is Argent walking around like he was not rebarred in the last episode? Really? Really?
He does wince in pain, to be fair.
Okay, and then everybody else is going to disagree with me, but I'm going with it anyway. Scott takes another massive assumption leap again. Massive. All of a sudden, Scott realizes that Peter is behind this whole thing? How did he come up with that?
Who's arguing with you on that? I will fight them for you, person.
Everybody.
I literally screamed that. I was like, are you serious? All Peter said is that he'd gone up against berserkers before, and he ran the hell away from them. End of discussion.
That is it. And, I understand the idea of blame Peter because it's Peter, but that is out of character for Scott. That is not how Scott thinks. That's not how he acts. And now if Stiles had done that, I would have been all right there. Because quite frankly, season 1 and 2 Stiles was all about blaming Derek. Season 3 and 4 Stiles all about blaming, Peter. Peter trained Kate into learning how to make berserkers.
When she had control of the berserkers when we first saw her.
Yes.
Oh my God, yes.
Before Peter makes an alliance with her at all.
I'm so confused. I did not get that at all.
Not to mention, if Peter knows how to make berserkers, don't you think he would have done that?
I was so confused. I felt like I was totally missing something. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Like, she's explained, they call me La Loba, and I'm like, why? Because you're a werejagger? Like, aren't there other werejaguars? Like, there's supposed to be, right?
Like the entire church community that built this thing?
Right? Like, why was she so special that she could channel the powers of that Aztec deity? Like, really? Because Peter scratched her? I mean, basically.
Well, that's going into my number 8, yeah. But, it just does not make any sense at all. It is out of character. Now, if they had said something about how if in Kate's monologuing, before she turned Scott into a berserker, if she had mentioned Peter at any time, then this would have made sense to me.
She mentioned it to Kira, and I think Jeff forgot that. That's what I think. He got confused about who she told what to.
Kira did not talk to Scott in between these parts at all. So this whole, all of a sudden, everybody's blaming Peter as the bad guy makes zero sense.
Argent shoots Kate with yellow wolfsbane, the most powerful wolfsbane that turned into a paralytic that is just worthless now, apparently. Like, really? She's still out of control. No way she should still be running around, and no way should she have been able to escape. You know what I think? I think it's some bootleg wolfsbane going around. They should get their money back from their dealer.
This yellow wolfsbane thing makes zero sense in the context of this season. In all honesty, wolfsbane and mountain ash as a whole are right up there with werewolf powers and things that don't make sense in the canon of the show and timelines. All right, number 8 for me is going to be the Cape monologue. I will say that there is a very big positive in that, and that they finally explained that Kate can control berserkers. Did they do a good job at it? No. Not even the least, but at least now I don't have that over my head going, what the heck? I actually have some problems with her being La Loba.
Yes.
She's too new to be La Loba.
I mean, she's a white lady, too, and used to be a hunter. She supposedly come from this quote-unquote aristocratic family. Like, how could she have a connection to the werejagger community to become La Loba?
I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense to me. If she does come back, when she does come back, they need to do some explanation, because she is a huge plot hole herself.
Mm-hmm. And we never, I'll just kind of roll right into this one. And we never got the explanation of what she did to Derek.
No, nothing. Which actually leads into another one. The whole Derek becomes a full-fledged wolf after being dead thing. I love it. Love that Derek is now powerful. And most importantly that Scott did not bite him. That's huge in importance for me. This needs to be a bridge into a detailed explanation of how in the heck this can happen in season 5.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, we're not going to get it.
It's genetic. That's probably going to be the gloss over. Like, his mom could do it. It was in his bloodline. And something triggered it. What Kate did to him triggered it.
Number 7 for me. Sheriff. Seriously, Sheriff. He wants to call Border Patrol about kidnapped supernaturals.
Yes! I was like, are you new here, Sheriff? What?
How exactly is that conversation going to go? Never in my life have I wanted to give slap Sheriff until this moment. I understand not wanting to allow your child to go into a dangerous situation. I mean, totally understand that. And quite frankly, I think the parents need to take that stance more often, because that's just realistic. But this is not a solution for keeping your child safe.
My next issue is that Lydia gets left behind, and I become extremely agitated. I like the explanation, but the fact that she gets left behind doesn't make it to Mexico in time. It's a bummer. She gets stuck with Mason. There, I said it.
Yeah, I agree. And I can bump that up a minute by saying that I'm starting to get as annoyed by Mason's screen time as I am with Liam's screen time. But
See, senorita.
Oh, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one, because he seems to be a fan favorite at this point, and I'm just tired.
because he's so nice and sweet and caring. But like now he knows about supernaturals. Now he's gonna be part of the pack next season. Just I just can't. I can't. Which I'm pretty sure we're gonna talk about when we get to that thing about Dylan.
Number 5, it was number 5 for me. Especially because Styles literally says we cannot leave without Lydia. And as soon as he said that, I was tweeting about how excited I was that finally, Lydia was going to be part of the pack. Lydia is like pack adjacent at this point. I don't know if we can even consider her part of the pack because they are always leaving her on her own. Even when she's worth millions of dollars, they are leaving her on her own.
I kind of scoffed when I was reading some of the articles. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to focus on Scott, Lydia, and Derek. And I was like, the characters you focused the least on this season, but okay.
Only Scott fights Peter instead of the whole pack. Do I understand where it's coming from? Yes. Do I like it? No. Okay. First off, part of my problems with True Alphas, again, is that they are the only ones who can do anything. And by having Scott solely fight Peter, I get that he's the upright, moral standing person in the pack, and therefore it was a fair fight if it's just one-on-one. But every single person in this pack has beef with Peter. Every one of them. Peter is screwed with them all. So all of them should have been in on it, and it never makes sense to me when a hero doesn't take an advantage over a villain.
I guess I could see that, but it's Jeff just not willing to take the plunge and commit to certain things that I kind of just brushed that under the rug. What else can I vetch about? So much. Where to start? Just why was Mason in this episode?
So he could learn about the supernatural. So he can be a bigger part in season 5.
Why does he need to be a bigger part in season 5? You know who needs to be a bigger part in season 5? Lydia! Yeah, I'm just not I like Mason in small doses, being helpful. I would much prefer him to be clueless. We have too much other stuff to focus on. Yes, I would love to have Danny back. I don't need a Danny Jr., 2.0, whatever you want to call it. I miss my real Danny.
There was nothing wrong with Danny. I don't know why he had to be replaced. I am sick of Mason at this point. I feel like in the last 2 episodes he has gotten far too much screen time for somebody who is a peripheral player at this point and should still be a peripheral player. He is still the only one who doesn't make me want to rip his tongue out.
He's so sweet, he gives me a cavity, so I'm going to send the bill to Jeff. That's too one-dimensional for me so far. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm Liam's best friend and I'm gay. Like that, there has to be more to it, and I'm helpful and sweet and not like it just doesn't ring true. Like it's just too flat for me.
I'm gonna put that in the be careful what you wish for category. Because if season 5 is all about Mason trying to adjust to his post-traumatic stress syndrome, I'm gonna freaking flip out.
They won't be that repetitive, will they?
Oh, I hope not. But I cannot stand another season of characters I don't care about having their mental breakdowns. I can't stand how Dylan O'Brien says bureaucracy.
Darn!
And I can't stand Peter's fleeting accent that comes and goes.
Wow.
Both of them drive me absolutely nuts.
Darn. Really? I can't. I literally can't hold this in anymore. What? Like, I told you it was going to be Liam to get through to Scott, but I was really hoping Jeff would have a little more joie de vivre about it. Just, what? I mean, I would even, like, honestly, I would have rather it been Kira. If it was going to be Styles, I'd rather it have been Kira. I totally agree with you now. Now that it's happened, I was fuming. And then it was like it was like 5 seconds. You're not a monster. Really? What is up with everybody parroting the damn phrases back to each other? And it's supposed to be so poignant and significant. Ugh.
And sometimes it is.
It was a clusterfuck and the wrong choice.
This was the worst thing that Jeff Davis could have done if it was not, besides killing off Scott or Styles or Team Parent. There is nothing that he could have done in this episode that was worse than what he did here. And since we're already here, I'm just going to throw in I'm going to do all of my top 4 together at this point because it all rolls into one. Okay? So, 4. Scott stops being a berserker after 2.2 minutes. It's the most anticlimactic thing that's happened in Teen Wolf since the Deadpool just vanished. The whole freaking season is one study in being anticlimactic after another. Then, instead of getting Scott and Styles bromance, we get Scott and Liam bromance. Again.
Yes! Logic fail on top of that, though, because he's like, yeah, let's chant Satomi's freaking mantra, and I just, like, really, Styles is the one to get through to Liam? Really? You're really, really pushing this a little too hard, Jeff. It's so obvious.
Well, and that's the second time that Styles has spent his time reassuring Liam. Again. Like, it's his freaking little brother, too. Then we spend that entire drive to Mexico focused on Liam, how he has to get control, and everybody's focused on. For a show about Scott and Kira being kidnapped, we spent more time worried about Liam than anybody else in this entire episode. This is what, the 6th out of 12 episodes in which we've done this? Really? Liam. The entire freaking season. It wasn't the season of Lydia. It was the season of Liam. Who is this new kid that we didn't even know about before? I don't care about freaking Liam. And then he's on this, you're not a monster, you're a werewolf. Like me.
You need to sit the hell down because you've been a werewolf for exactly a month now. Ain't nobody got time for you, Liam.
Oh, you want to go? You want to go even more then? This is the Liam quote that I hate the most. I can't believe I did it. You know, for a minute there, I thought I was going to tear you two apart. Really? Yeah, you did it. Here is the number one problem of this episode, wrapped in all 4 of the big problems. Every single thing in this episode points to Scott and Liam taking over as the number one foundation relationship in this show instead of Scott and Styles. Every single thing does. It's been working that way all the way since he got bit. As soon as he got bit, the entire season revolved around Liam. Let's not forget that this is the character who is introduced to us by being said that he was the very best person out there and then has the freaking slow-mo helmet removal. We go through and we end this episode with Coach saying that Liam is the best that he has ever seen. Liam is the new Scott. He absolutely 100% is being set up as the new Scott. The foundation of the show is crumbling fast. And they have to fix it.
First main character.
Sure, let's talk about Scott.
Oh my god, like I don't know what's more frustrating. Scott is damsel in distress, or Scott the Berserker 2.2 seconds, or C, Liam getting through to him, not killing Peter. Like, Scott was just a hot freaking mess in this episode. And I just can't. Like, I don't understand how Jeff Davis says that he was focusing on Scott by giving him a beta and reiterating the traits that we already know that Scott has ad nauseum to almost a fault is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to say there is no question to me about the most irritating thing about Scott this episode. It was definitely Liam, as is everything about Liam is the most irritating thing about this season. But I will say that Scott as Berserker had fantastic possibilities. And to end it 2.2 minutes, why did we even go there? Why? So that we can show that Liam can get through to Scott?
When nobody else can, for no reason other than that he's his beta. Oh.
That is literally the only reason for these last 2 episodes, is so that Liam can get through to Scott. There is no reason to stop the Deadpool before that. The only other thing that came out of this, well, Derek became a wolf, but Derek could have become a wolf with the Deadpool.
I mean, they've been teasing it in the damn trailer. The opening credits for what, 2 seasons now?
I mean, he could have become a wolf because of the Deadpool. I mean, let's just be real. So the only two things that came out of these last two episodes were Liam, and Peter's in jail. That's it. That is not a reason to end a season-long myth arc early so that you can do that. And Scott was not winning any points except for when he was a berserker. So, Styles. Yeah, he was in this.
Really? Are you sure?
Yeah, he had all the funny things.
No, I remember the things with Sheriff, but the important relationship in this whole series, yeah, I wasn't feeling it. And even the stuff with Malia, like, sure, it was like 10 seconds of fun, but just like what did they do to Styles? Like they regressed him and then threw him in a relationship.
And in that relationship, the female part of that relationship definitely was the best part. So, yeah, Malia's definitely better than Styles. And in this case, again,
even her interactions with his own father were better.
And Malia's a better detective in this one, too. So, because, again, Pillow, yep, good plan.
It's a shame that, yeah, I mean, I get it. Season 3B was the season of Dylan O'Brien, but still, you can't gloss over all the things that happened after that with one little thing. I remember, and Control is overrated, and then just throw him in a relationship that I just, like, while it's nice and it's funny and it's not like as forced as some of these other relationships on the show, at the same time, it just didn't really ring true for me.
The only thing I like about this season better than last season is Styles and Malia. So I'm fine with a relationship. I just don't think that it makes sense for Styles to only be the comic relief again. And he really, except for the early part of season 1, he hasn't been that for a long time. He's always been the best friend. He's always been the person who can help find answers. He's always been comic relief, yeah. He's always been a main character interaction. Didn't matter who he was interacting with. He always had some kind of interaction with all of the characters.
I feel like the Stalia Stydia thing really, really screwed that character's potential.
Yeah, at this point, I'm like, pick one and go with it.
They literally can't, though. They already got the Steric fans just mad as hell. So they can't really, like, they don't realize that you're literally pleasing no one at this point.
Yeah, you can't play ping pong between two ships. Shippers won't let you. It's that simple. Derek!
It's weird. Derek wasn't actually in this episode a lot, but the minus the Liam thing, the times that we did see him, it was very powerful for me personally.
Even his beginning scene with Braden, which is not a scene that is designed for my particular interests. I mean, that was as shipping gets. But even that felt like I was getting insight into Derek. It wasn't absolute fluff and filler.
Yeah, they had their clothes on.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good one.
And there were guns.
Yes. And that's helpful.
It's always a plus.
But yeah, it's kind of like, the Derek part of this episode was the best surprise of it all. And it is the thing that I am most looking forward to going into season 5.
Absolutely. I was so happy for Derek, even if it makes no sense and I have no hope for Jeff explaining it. I can do my meta, I can work it out, and I'm just really excited for Tyler Hoechlin to have like some material and some depth to really explore and dig into the character of Derek, because I feel like because Jeff flies by the seat of his pants, he kind of limits that kind of thing for his actors.
Yay, Derek, you had a good season.
When you break it down, like, basically Jeff's like, I can't torture you. Okay, I throw you in this relationship. I'll let you evolve. But that's about it, Derek. That's all you get. If I can't torture you, you don't get as much screen time.
Although I would still say he had more screen time this season than he did in season 2.
Hey, remember when I said give it 2 more episodes and Derek will be full on Yoda? That prediction was totally right.
Lydia did not fare out as well as Derek.
Not at all. But this episode, I was so ticked off. I'm like, seriously? She's stuck with Mason? Really?
The only thing worse would be stuck with Liam.
Even, at least he's a werewolf and can protect her. Jeez, you're with Mason. Well, at the time he didn't know that they were supernatural. It's like, why do you keep calling it? I'm so scared. I think I wet my pants. Hold me. It just didn't work for me. Everything about that until Sheriff showed up, it was so painful and agonizing. And I just felt so bad for Lydia.
I was actually okay with Lydia being the person in the know in that scene for once, and being the person who could break it to him. It was refreshing to see Lydia not be the person who's on the outside looking in, but she's not with the pack. End all, be all, bottom line, she is not with the pack.
Now, the reason is totally fine, but the execution of it sucks. Like, I really would have preferred for her to, like, I don't care how Dos Ex Machina it would have been, like, she comes in the helicopter and saves the day or whatever. Just something to get her with the pack, because this is just ridiculous.
Yes. Just yes.
For the life of me, I do not understand. Holland has chemistry with every single person on the cast. Utilize it!
Not to mention, she's one of your better actresses. I mean, in the teen population, who are not teens, obviously, but in the quote-unquote teen population of Teen Wolf, she can act. And everything they give her, she nails, no matter what it is that they're trying to get her to do. So, for the love of everything, give her a 3B plot. All right, Malia. I like Malia in this episode.
She really didn't have a lot to do, though, surprisingly.
But she was in the fun episode, her fun scenes.
Yeah, I totally loved her with Sheriff. I totally loved her with Peter, actually.
Me too.
I loved that part. She just had the music way up.
Mm-hmm.
And she even kind of gave Peter these kind of looks, and she just, like, it really shows you that even, like, Malia might have trust issues with Styles still, but, like, for some reason she still believes in Scott. She still wants to be a part of the pack. And it's just something nice about that for me.
I agree. I love that there is no question where her loyalty is. I think that was a smart move. Kira.
Oh, she didn't totally suck, but, like, really, she could have been there or not been there if Liam was going to figure it out. When he kept looking at his eyes, I was like, yeah, Kira, they could have just wrote this without Kira. They could have had her checking in on her mom. But I do like that she got her first tail. I
would say that Kira's best scenes were with her mom, whether it was Vision or in real life.
I love to hate Nishiko, and I hate to love Nishiko. Like, she's just that classic quintessential tiger mom. She's very cold, she's very clinical, but when needs be, she can be very forthcoming. So that's nice.
I actually hope that her role steps up and that we see her be a mentor, a trainer for Kira, because Kira is absolutely 100% always at her best when it's not with Scott.
Thank you. Yes, I agree.
By having them pursue the angle of being trained by her mom, it makes her her own character, and that is number one what she needs. Secondary characters?
We already kind of fetched about Liam.
Yeah. Argent.
Like, I feel so bad for Argent. Like, I get where he's coming from. Like, I think that, even though I didn't really bring it up, I totally kind of get why Jeff put it in about Chris and Kate and the Allison thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have very mixed feelings about it, but, like, Argent, like, literally, he has nothing, and it sucks, and I feel so bad for him, but at the same time, it's really a complex situation that Jeff feels like he doesn't really want to dive into by letting Kate actually get away, instead of letting him either kill her or put her in the, what is it, level 6, whatever, of Eichenhaus.
Is that where he was going to do it?
That's the way that it seemed.
I can totally see that. But then Kate would come back in the jailbreak, and that would suck.
Yeah, well, she's going to come back either way.
I think she should be with Cora. I think Cora should take on Kate at this point. Doesn't matter who wins.
It does matter to me. Cora better win, because I can't deal with Kate anymore. It makes no sense to have her around.
I'm done with Kate. Well, let me just say that. While I'm good with having a break with Peter for even the whole year if they wanted, if Kate comes back and Peter doesn't, that's a totally different situation. If Gerard comes back and Peter doesn't, totally different situation. Yeah.
I think we do need to bring Gerard back to kill him, though. And if that gets rid of Scott's true alpha status, the even bonus points for that.
Yeah, never gonna happen.
I really feel like Jeff's sick of it, and he's looking for a way out of it.
Well, in that case, it will be Liam's rapid ascent to alpha status. Do you really want to see that?
Or an Omega, he can go the hell away.
Not happening. I'm telling you, he's the cast. He will never, ever, ever leave.
If the ratings decline, if they are making Liam the lead in more and more screen time and the ratings decline, there has to be like a direct correlation, and the execs will step in. Hands down, without a doubt, they will step in. This is not the CW. Well, this is not CW pre-2010. The executives are out of control at CW now, but they really are. They have no business in putting their hands in some of the stuff they put in, but whatever. They will step in about that. That is I'm like 80% sure on that.
Yeah, except then we have to get the younger version of the Teen Wolf population to not like Liam. All I know is that we didn't get Mama McCall. We didn't get Deaton.
Well, that's a bonus. I'm kind of tired of Deaton until they make that man so unnecessarily complicated and unclear and wishy-washy.
Yeah.
He seems evil one minute, then he does a good thing the next, and then he's unhelpful in the next scene, and then it seems like he wanted them to revive the Nematon for nefarious purposes, and we just kind of dropped it and left it alone, and now all of a sudden he's Derek's personal crusader. Just, no, I'm good.
You know what? If Peter can't be the final big bad, make it Deaton.
I would totally be all for that. I love Alan, though, but it's just the character of Deaton. Just, they need to pick a path and stick with it.
That's the same for almost every character on the show. All right, what about our villain of the week? Obviously, Peter and Kate.
Yeah.
And
Liam. Just, I'm so disappointed with that choice. I can't stress that enough. I mean, I'm sorry if you like Liam. Like, he might tug on your particular heartstrings of your demographic, but for me, he just does nothing for me.
And for me, he irritates the living snot out of me.
I don't know why he has to be so whiny. I don't get that. How is that attractive and appealing to? That's not even sensitivity. That's just straight up whiny.
Emo angsty.
Is there something above? I think somebody needs to create a word above emo angsty, because at that point, that word is still too soft. It's the theme of Teen Wolf. Villains get to do whatever the hell they want and live to see another day. And it's really starting to frustrate.
Unless they're female.
True.
Let's go on to the season's progression.
Kate got away. Peter got away. Arjun's on a mission with the Calaveras.
Derek is a wolf. We know that the Desert Wolf is coming in season 5, and that she's an assassin. Because we haven't had enough of those. Yeah, nothing else happened. We didn't have a cliffhanger. We don't have any big bad situation hanging over any of our characters. Everybody's in a relatively good place. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
If everybody ended up in a good place, why do I feel so crappy about this episode?
Because they all ended up in a good place for them. But the story didn't end up in a good place.
Thank you. Yes, that's exactly what it was, Dawn. I knew you could put your finger on it. Episode awards.
All right. What's your grade? My grade's going to be higher.
Yeah, I know it. It's a C-. This is not the way to end a season finale. Sorry.
If it was a run-of-the-mill, everyday episode, it would be a B+. It is one of the best episodes of this season, for sure, for me. One of them that I was excited about as I was watching it. One of them that I wasn't watching the time to figure out when it was over. And one of which I didn't end the episode going, did anything happen in this? Big step up there. But it is a season finale. And as a season finale, we had far too much Liam. We had far too much talking. We did have a lot more action than we normally do, but it took a while to get to that action. I loathe everything Liam. So for me, it is a B-. Who's your MVP?
Sheriff.
I'm going with Sheriff as well. And I really, really, really thought it was going to be Derek. But I'm going with Sheriff because, with the exception of the first scene, I liked everything he was in. And he was funny. And he was a hero. So he is one step above Derek, who I also liked every scene he was in except for one. And he was a hero, but he was not funny. So Sheriff wins by a laugh. It was your best character interaction.
As much as I hated it, I'll give it to Kira and Ghost Nishiko.
I'm going to give it to Sheriff and Styles, but I will say that Kira and Mama Fox, this is the only time that they could have ever won this for me. That was some prime good parenting, and I loved it, and I want more of it. Best reason to watch.
If you like Kate, if you like Peter, they live to see another day.
Best reason to watch? It is the first time that we have had more action than non-action in Teen Wolf this year. By far, that's the best reason for me. My miscellaneous one. Biggest shock of the night. Scott does not kill anyone. Least typical. Not only does no one die in this finale, but there's not even a cliffhanger. I have some other ones too, but I don't have them written down, so they're written on a different page. But they'll be in my recap, because they always are. All right. I will tell you right now that I did not spend much time at all going through the tweets. I didn't even go through the tweets after the episode was over, so chances are I don't have the best tweets tonight. I did have a couple from the cast. Arden Cho said, I hate dark hallways and caves and berserkers. By this time, so did I, honey. So did I. Maddie McD said, hashtag, Team Wolf changed my life. That's it. That's the tweet. Changed mine too. Usually for the better. Let's make that happen again. And then Megan Tandy said, haha, no gun for Styles, but plenty for Brayden. Like that. Keep up with that. That's what makes Brayden not Kira. And if they make Brayden like Kira, I'm just done. As far as my favorite fan ones, one of my absolute favorite fan ones came from the Night Desto, who said, the Stilinskis. Terrible medical insurance. Excellent phone coverage. Yep. At Kyle Loves TV is one of my favorite people on the internet. He's always funny. He doesn't do Teen Wolf, but occasionally he does to make fun of his coworker, Sophia, who does Teen Wolf for their website. And so he watched it this time and he said, when you're in a dark cave, you never want to run into Skeletor. I learned that from He-Man. He just makes me laugh. At Hope Mullinex finally got caught up, so she was able to live tweet with us. It was a whole lot of fun having her back. And one of the things that she wrote was, you're monologuing, Kate. If this was a superhero show, your butt would have gotten capped by now. I'm like, yep. Villain monologue equals you're done. And then she also said, and I really wish this had happened, Styles, I got a gun. Fumbles and drops it, killing Kate. Styles, I did it! That's how the Teen Wolf finale ends. Oh, I wish that had been how it happened. That was absolutely good. At LVCEBREROS said, she was responding when I was talking about Styles and giving Styles a gun, and she said, he couldn't even handle a crossbow. Let's not give the boy any firearms. Hashtag season 2 reference. And I was like, yeah, that's good. At Teen Wolf Talk said, yeah, because if this show has taught me anything, it's that the police force is completely reliable when looking for missing werewolves. Oh, yeah. And then the other one that she said that was totally where I was coming from. Styles' first instinct when he sees Liam, oh, go home. Yep. Go with it. And those were the ones that I pulled this time.
Okay, so Teen Wolf in summary on Tumblr. Why is Kate still alive? Why is Peter still alive? Oh, hell no. Peter just hit Malia. Seriously. And,
that was big,
yeah. And why is Lydia not with the pack? The most GIF thing is Scott the slow-mo punch that Scott gave Peter sending him sailing.
Really?
Yeah. And then, of course, the Liam and Scott thing, because people like Liam. I don't know why.
That's what I would have figured. So I'm surprised that was that one. Maybe it's because they were excited that Scott won a fight.
Well, that, and it's still early in the week. Everybody's still confused and really ticked off about the plot holes and logic gaps.
Well, welcome to season 4.
Yeah.
And actually, in all honesty, Teen Wolf as a whole.
I mean, I don't think it's ever been this big, has it?
I don't think it's ever been this obvious. My guess is that when I go back and I watch season 2, there are going to be plenty of things about the Kanama that make 0 sense.
I don't know. I mean, out of everything, that's the thing that they kind of really tried to explain way too much, if you ask me.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, when we were doing the podcasts for 3B was fabulous, but there were still logic issues that we were bringing up every week for that too. I mean, there are going to be logic issues in Teen Wolf. However, with the pacing and the characters and the logic issue together, it just feels like instead of potholes, we have sinkholes, and it just kind of piled on.
On the critic side, definitely check out the Entertainment Weekly interview with Jeff. Oh, I read Hypable this week.
I read that one too.
The GIF recaps are always the best for me personally. Love those.
I did not read that.
Yeah, that's usually my go-to one, and then if I have time, I read the other one. I read TV Line, TV Fanatic. I went over to AfterBuzz and chimed in on some of the comments. Yeah, I really been trying to like get out of the typical social media space for Teen Wolf because people are revolting over this one article. It was for the Advocate, I think it was, and the comments on that thing were just wow. I mean, Teen Wolf fandom is up in arms. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's hysteric right there.
Well, no, I'm not. It's not even about Steric. It's about a really good point that they made that they talk about, and it's kind of what I brought up last week, and about how it's not really LGBT representation, and they're tired of them patting themselves on the back for it.
Okay, so basically, they're calling Teen Wolf out on gay baiting. Okay, that's where I expected it to be going. Yeah,
and it's kind of true, and I think there was a lot of good comments, and a lot of people. It actually was more respectful than I was expecting, and it is a conversation because they are really self-congratulatory about it, and they don't deserve to be.
Yeah, I think it depends. I think that the Ethan and Danny relationship, they should have been lauded for. Most of what people are being lauded for, not so much.
Well, the whole point of the article was that they didn't even ask the people that portrayed gay on the series. It was just the stars with a little one-liner. Like, it shouldn't even been an article, honestly, in my personal opinion. It's a little laughable.
I don't know. I think Steric's not having it. Pretty much get done.
I don't care about Steric, but like they bring the point up about Caitlyn, how she was shown at first to be gay and then bi, and it was basically just to kind of tease that Styles might be bi and all this other stuff. So I think I like the way that they don't make it a big deal, but at the same time, it's not a big enough as like for them to always be talking about it. It's not as big a part as Teen Wolf. Like none of the main characters are actually, you know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm. And the gay characters tend to be defined by being gay. I mean, that really was the character definition of Danny. It is certainly the character definition of Mason, that and most understanding friend in the entire world. I go both ways about, I don't believe in representation just for representation, if that makes any sense.
But they do try to stand on that. They did build their audience on that, and then a lot of them feel like they turned their back on it, and I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah. I think using any character simply as a PSA or a message is not right. In the same way I feel like the plot needs to drive the characters, not the characters driving the plot. I think that, it really made no sense to me that they threw in Ethan and Danny without tying it to the plot. And there were so many ways they could have tied it to the plot. Simply by having Danny come out as knowing about the supernatural before the last episode.
And it felt like they were going there when they were sitting in the motel room, and he's talking about how he could take that away, and then that went nowhere.
Yeah. So it feels like they missed opportunities there. But, I don't necessarily think that your sole goal needs to be to make that character the token representation of any group.
Yeah, I totally get where both sides are coming from, but I think for a lot of people that are in the LGBTQ community that do watch Teen Wolf, and, for specifically because Jeff Davis wrote it, they had a lot of high hopes or whatever, and they're just kind of being smashed to smithereens a lot, I guess, in their personal opinions is what I was noticing. So,
well, and I understand them being frustrated. I watch Teen Wolf for certain reasons, and am frustrated with it myself.
But yeah, like I said, it was a lot more respectful than I was expecting. A lot of good points on both sides.
Good.
And usually a comment section is never like that. So.
Well, and I think that it's a very valid point to have all parts of the fandom represented in social media, because a lot of times it feels like one part of a fandom takes over and the other side has no voice. And so for everyone to have a place to voice what they like, what they don't like, what they feel betrayed by is important.
I haven't read Sophia's yet, but I tend to like her recaps. She puts so much heart into it. She's just so dang cute.
A little too much Scott for me, but and definitely too much Liam for me. But
Definitely too much Liam for me, but I can never get enough Scott positivity. You know how that is.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I do. I did the Entertainment Weekly one. I read the Hypeable article one. I didn't see the gift cap one. So, and then I had an interesting conversation on Spoiler TV as well. So,
Oh, about what?
about how I'm too negative.
Oh.
We're talking about Teen Wolf and what it means to be a fan and what the definition of a fan is. It's the same argument I have with every show.
Okay, yeah. I was just looking at the email, and of course, it's just all the people that retweeted our stuff. So yeah. We're still planning on doing a Maze Runner / end of the season wrap up that I hooked Dawn into doing to her chagrin. Well, if you want to send in your thoughts about season 4, favorite episodes, least favorite episodes, all that good stuff, you can send it to teenwolf.smgpod@gmail.com. If you feel more comfortable tweeting us, you can reach us at Beacon Hills Pod. You can even leave a message on the Facebook, which of course is facebook.com/welcome to Beacon Hills. Or now, remember, my anonymous is enabled on the Tumblr, so please use it, but do not abuse it, at welcome to Beacon Hills podcast.tumblr.com. Look forward to hearing what you guys thought of this season, if you think we're crazy or right on target.
And please tell us we're crazy, because it won't be the first time we've heard that from any show.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say.
Absolutely. Like we said, we will still be checking all of our stuff over the hiatus, which apparently is pretty long. We're both known for passing along stuff from shows that we watch. So look for us at Teen Wolf stuff as it starts coming out about season 5. We'll probably post some of those things too, or tweet them out. As for me, you can catch me at Dawn1 on Twitter. That's at DAHN1. Or sorry, DAHNE1. That is the best way to reach me. I am on Twitter every day, and I try to see everything that I try to respond to anybody who responds to me. And then also you can find me at my blog at dawn1.blogspot.com. You can also find me on Spoiler TV, where I do Teen Wolf, but I also do things for Sleepy Hollow, White Collar, and several other shows, Grimm. So come check us out. You can also, of course, check out all the different podcasts that we have at southgatemediagroup.com. There's something for everyone, I promise, so check them out. You're going to find something you love.
Definitely, so true. You can find me at Lilith Hellfire. My blog is lilithlovestv.blogspot.com. Remember, Loves is spelled Luvs. I just marathoned all 5 seasons of Daria. I absolutely love that show. That show basically defines who I am. Well, I was as like a 10-year-old, because just sardonic and just classic, and I just can't wait to start writing about it. You don't want to miss out on that.
Next project up for me is bringing back Last Week in TV. I will be doing a summer wrap-up once I finish watching the last 3 summer shows I need to finish. I'll also be doing a fall preview that tells you a little bit more about which shows I'm going to concentrate on and why. And a little wrap-up of what I want to see most. I'm going to have a mini wish list for each of the shows that I'm going to watch.
Very cool. Cannot wait.
Until our wrap-up. And more importantly, until season 5, enjoy the happiness right now, because, dude, it's Beacon Hills, and it's not going to last long.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.